Welcome! We're going to talk about how you can find joy in the little moments and make your life more joyful. Being joyful, to be honest, being happy or positive in general is a choice, and it's definitely a conscious choice that I make every day. It is easy to be dragged down by things that are happening that are either out of control or, things with your mental health, things with your family, things in the wider world. There's a lot going on. It's hard coming from that context to be like, I want to find more joy. That can feel selfish, or it can feel like it's not important, but I think it is vitally important, and you are not at all being selfish if you're like, I want to find more joy in my life. The first step is to ground yourself and acknowledge your current state. Any given day where you're like, I'm trying to find more joy today. That's my goal. You need to acknowledge whatever state you're in now. One way I like to do this is, I think it was a mindfulness technique I got recommended to help deal with anxiety. You just sit and you count how many things you can hear or how many things you can see. I quite like doing things you can hear because generally there are lots of different noises going on and there are also a lot that you can see. There's too much you can see. I'm looking around now, I'm like, oh my gosh, it looks very calm over here, but that side of the room is a mess. So I like to focus on what you can hear. This is great to do on a walk, either if you live in a city because there'll be so many different sounds you can pick out, but also if you live in a more rural area, you might think, well, there's not that many noises, but you will be surprised if you do this how much you can pick out. When I do this, I can normally pick out 7 or 8 different sounds, and it is a great exercise to help bring you back to the present moment and help ground you. So if I'm out on a walk, I'll be able to hear my footsteps, maybe I can hear my breathing, or depending on my coat that I'm wearing, that might be rustling, or I might hear my boots squeaking if I'm wearing wellies, or the mud squelching. I'll hear birds, I'll hear the wind going through the trees, and I'll hear leaves crunching underfoot. I'll hear, maybe I'm with my dogs so I can hear their feet going, jingling of their collars. You'll walk past a fence and it will be creaking. There will be so many sounds. And the reason that I'm emphasizing this is that once you're in the present moment, you're noticing things. And the key, I think, to having a joyful perspective is you really need to notice things, because as we discussed, there is going to be a lot that you can look at in your life and be disappointed with or be sad about. If you get sucked into that, you're not going to notice all of these smaller things, like all of these sounds that are around you. They're just going to be white noise to you. So you need to get used to grounding yourself in the present moment, and then you have the opportunity to capitalize on any of those things and they can bring you joy. I also want to bring in gratitude here. I know I talk about this quite a lot, but it honestly is so important. It's like foundational, I think. Everything comes back to gratitude. It helps you to appreciate everything. I heard someone say, I don't know if they were talking about writing a gratitude list or thinking about goals that you want to achieve, but basically they were saying you need to be grateful for everything as if you will lose anything tomorrow that you weren't grateful for today. So say today you forget to be grateful for running water. That means tomorrow you won't have it because you weren't grateful for it today. Like, that's clearly not going to happen. But the idea is to get into the mentality of noticing every single thing that you have to be grateful for, because chances are you do have a lot. There may also be a lot of other stuff going on that is causing you pain, but there will be so many things that you can count that you are grateful for. So if we start with gratitude and grounding yourself in the present moment, you're now in the perfect space to make things joyful. I talk a bit about this in my video, why it's important to focus on the little things, which I will link up here if you want to watch that. So you need to notice one of these small things that's happening in the day, seize on that and celebrate that. Give it a moment, whether it's something funny that your friend says or something funny you hear on the radio that, just makes you laugh. Actually allow yourself to properly laugh, like pause and be like, oh my gosh, that is silly or that is funny. Don't let it pass you by. Don't just be like, cool. Like, really, you found a moment there that something has spoken to you there and given you the start of some joy, some positive energy. So you can capitalize on that and be like, wait, yeah, I'm gonna celebrate the fact that that made me laugh or that silly thing just happened. If I'm gonna give an example of capitalizing on a small moment to find joy, this always happens to me with my dogs because they're just so pure. They are always in the moment. They're always, on to the next thing, what's happening. One of my dogs, she loves going in puddles and I kick the water for her and her little tail is going, leaping around, and it's just so cute. I always find that her being so fascinated by this puddle of water, that brings me joy, and I allow myself every morning whenever we come to this puddle in the park to stay with her and kick the water for her and not be like, come on, let's go. I'm like, no, let's have this small moment where I'm just in my wellies kicking the water for her and she's having a great time. I do think if you have pets, well, I can only speak because I have as I say, dogs, so I know what it's like. They really help to bring me into the present moment because they're just an example of that. They are just so, you know, they're always happy to see you and they're always so cute and their little tails are going. I think my dog sets me an example of how to be joyful and how to be in the moment. I think another way to bring more joy into your life is to make sure you are taking time to do the things that you really, really love, the things that make your soul happy, or that afterwards just you feel really energized. So for me, I'm an introvert. Spending time alone for me is like, oh, I love it so much. But you might get your energy from other people, so you might feel the most joyful and the most energized after you've spent time with your friends, or just like a bunch of people in a really social setting, in a bar or in a, I don't know, I don't go to these places anymore. I don't drink anymore. But just be aware of what you like doing and just really make sure you make time for it. Like, make it a priority. Treat it in the way that you treat every other thing that you have to do, whether it's you have to do your job or you have to make yourself food, you've got to take care of your space. Make finding joy and make taking time to do things you love, make that a priority. Don't like schedule it in and make it something that seems like a chore, but always make sure that you have time to do something that you love, because we're all busy, we all have responsibilities, commitments. Time can go by so fast, you don't realize what's happening and you've not taken time for yourself in the day. So for instance, music makes me joyful, so I spend 10 minutes dancing every day when I remember, and it's just so nice to have music going and me moving around and being silly. But also when I'm cooking, it's nice to have music on, just because it's something that I really appreciate, so that's something that I do that always brings me joy. Being creative brings me joy. I love writing, I love painting, making collages. To be honest, I love making these videos as well and coming up with all the different elements, like doing thumbnails, titles, research, brainstorming ideas. That brings me so much joy. Just being creative brings me joy, so I make sure to spend time doing that every day because I know it fulfills me and it makes me happy, and it's something that I can do that brings me joy. Journaling brings me joy because it allows me to appreciate everything. If we're going to talk again about being in the moment, I will link my journaling video up here if you want to check that out, because I talk more about the importance of journaling and why it's something I think you should be doing. And maybe you're not a creative person, or these things that I'm listing don't speak to you, but there will be something. Do you like cooking? Do you like crafting something? Are you like a technology person who can like code or speak different languages in terms of coding? I don't know very much about this. At one point I was trying to teach myself Python, is that one, or Java? Which was the one I was trying to teach myself? Whatever it is that brings you joy and that you love doing, you know, the thing that gets you in that state of flow where you don't realize that time is going by. I can sit at my desk and spend hours writing and I'll like forget to eat, or like the only time I'll be pulled out of it is if I'm suddenly like, oh, I need the loo, and then I'll look at the time and it's like, oh my gosh, 2.5 hours has gone by and I've just been sat here writing. Whatever that thing is for you, it might be reading. I love reading so much, but it's one of those things that goes in cycles for me, and sometimes for instance now, I can't remember the last time I gave myself time to pick up my book because things have just been happening more busy, and it's such a shame because it's something that brings me so much joy. It's important to take time to do the things you love and do more of what you love because it will bring you joy, and you don't have to have like massive chunks of time to do this either. As I say, journaling, I do that for 10 minutes every day. Love reading, writing. If we're going to talk about not having the time to do it, that comes back to finding those small moments in the day where you can find joy, where you can just take like a pocket of time and be like, I'm gonna be joyful. I am sat here on this platform waiting for my train home. It's raining, I'm cold, I'm hungry, I've run out of water, I'm not feeling great, but this is a time where I'm just waiting and I'm gonna pick out something to be joyful for. I'm gonna pick out all the sounds I can hear first. There's a lot of sounds you can hear at a train station. My gosh, that is overstimulating. So ground yourself first and then be like, cool, I'm gonna find the person with the coolest outfit today, or I'm gonna go buy myself a coffee and have a chat to the person serving me. It's about the small moments, isn't it? I don't want it to come across like you need to have loads of time. It's a mindset shift and it's about choosing to be joyful. I can speak for myself. Any joy that I have is deliberate, it is a choice, and it's a radical choice, I think, in the face of any hardship. It's something I would really encourage because it will just make your life a lot lighter. It's not gonna make everything better, but it's just gonna mean that you have that joy to rest in and you can have a joyful perspective when you need it. If you're new here, you might mistake all of my joyful positivity for just like annoying, like toxic positivity and like, oh, everything's going great. The reason I'm so focused on this and so passionate about this topic is that I know what it's like to have a completely joyless existence. It's only in the past year that I've really turned my life around since coming into recovery. So I know how important and how life-changing this stuff is. If you can learn to practice it, it's really gonna change your life. It's gonna turn your life around. It's just about doing it one day at a time, doing it consistently, showing up for yourself, loving yourself enough to make that choice to be joyful, even if it doesn't feel normal or easy. It will get easier. So I hope it's a choice that you decide to make for yourself today. Please let me know in the comments below what things bring you joy. Is it any of the stuff that I've listed, or have I completely missed something and you're like, oh my gosh, you've missed this, how could you have forgotten? Please let me know. And any video requests as well. I've got tons of ideas, but I would also love to know if there's anything specific you want me to cover, because I'm happy to do that as well. Please don't forget to find joy in the little moments. It is there for you if you choose. God bless, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.